Hi, I'm Christina Simons.
And I'm Vera.
And today we would like to discuss some of the many hypnosis questions that we've been receiving. And I wanted to start off today by saying that hypnosis is Vera's expertise. I've been doing them for many years for myself and for my loved ones, but it's not my gift. My gift is art and writing, whereas Vera's gift is hypnosis. She's a master hypnotist, and she's been doing this since 1996. And I've been doing them for her for research purposes only. But when it comes to hypnosis professionally and hypnosis instruction, that is Vera's experience and expertise. So Vera, would you like to share some of the questions that we've been receiving? Because many of them are about hypnosis myths.
Right. Myths and misconceptions. And there are a lot, but thankfully since the 1900s have kind of been going, in a favorable side to hypnosis instead of that creepy, you're in my power kind of thing. Yeah. One question is hypnosis for everyone? And actually hypnosis is not for everyone. Sometimes, we could try it and it just doesn't feel right, or you can do it through meditation or, another aspect of healing that you can get it through. But it's not for everyone. But it is something that could help everyone, if it was something that they allowed to happen. So another question is, what if you make me cluck like a chicken?
Oh, yes.
And we always have that because of stage hypnosis. And stage hypnosis is for entertainment. And clients would often ask me, how did they get them to cluck like a chicken, or, do some weird, silly stuff.
Bark like a dog and whatever.
Yeah. And it's because the people have agreed to entertain the audience, subconsciously or consciously, however it is. But no one could be hypnotized to do anything unless they wanted to.
And I wanted to ask you, because I was talking with this really wonderful woman. She was asking me, can we hypnotize people into falling in love with us? And it's exactly what you were just saying. You can't hypnotize somebody into doing anything that they don't really want to do.
Yeah.
And
you can't get somebody in your power, that kind of thing. That's a myth. It's something that, sorry if you click or you don't. It has nothing to do with hypnosis. Yeah. So, you can hypnotize yourself into being more calm, being more, open to people, and then that way you may attract someone, but not to have,
you will.
Exactly.
You will.
Yeah, exactly. And can everyone be hypnotized? And that also it depends on the client. It depends on if you're willing to allow yourself to just let go and see what happens. Let go, let God, kind of thing. And it's really an amazing process if you allow it to happen. But everyone can be hypnotized as long as you have an average IQ to be able to do hypnosis. And that is something that Sylvia Brown has taught me, and other people, of course. And I've also read it in books. So, it is that you have to have at least an average IQ to be able to do it. And when you do hypnosis for children, then you have to go down to their level, and they're amazing. Kids are amazing.
That is so neat.
Yeah, they're open.
That would be a fascinating thing. Have you done some for little kids?
Yeah, a lot of times. Because there's not very many people in the office that wanted to do children. Because, you have to take a little more time with the pre-talk, and, you have to kind of lower not lower, but how do you say it?
Use words simple.
Yeah, use words that they would understand. Because the youngest, I guess the youngest would be my grandson, because he was 5.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had 10, 12-year-olds in that range.
Wow, that would be
16-year-old, yeah.
That'd be neat if you could, create something for people to use, help with their kids.
It was amazing, and the parents were just blown away at the way they acted afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, because rebellious teen. And then he understood why. Even though, we know it's hormones and testosterone and all that stuff, but, it was also a deep-seated thing that happened with that family in a past life. Same mother, same father.
That would be great to put in your book.
Yeah, there you go. So, do you know of anything else about can anybody be hypnotized?
Well, actually, that's the question that we received that I was going to bring up at the end, but this is perfect timing. And it's from her name is Jamie. And she asked if anyone could be hypnotized. And I was gonna ask you about it, but I was also gonna mention that in my own experience, I wanted to tell you that the very first time I ever had a hypnosis session, I did not think that I was going to be able to do it, because I guess it kind of goes along with the myth of I will be in some altered state and I won't be conscious of what's going on, and I'm like, it's not going to work, you know. I mean, am I going to be able to relax enough? So I guess I was so concerned about that, about not being able to relax enough, that that's exactly what I was focusing on even more. So it was, you know, I was concerned.
So you couldn't relax.
But then, finally, once I pushed that analytical side of my mind out of the way and was able to relax, then the questions that the hypnotist was asking me, the answers just started to come, and I just felt the answer within myself, you know. And, you know, I just wanted to say, too, that that was one of the most convincing things for me, because I wanted to ask you about, people might say, well, how do I know if I'm really hypnotized?
Yeah.
And I was just going to mention that for me, it was the depth of emotion that I felt.
Yeah, that's it, really.
You know, yeah, because I felt it so deep that the emotions that I was feeling affected me for 2 weeks after my first session. And it wasn't negative, but it was powerful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to address a little bit before what you said about that. And it's, you know, as people think that they're going to be unconscious, you know, like how you
yeah,
said, and they were not going to remember anything, things like that, and that's further from the truth. You could actually hear a pin drop. I mean, you would know if somebody came in the room. So it's nothing like, you know, you're going to be vulnerable to anybody that would maybe come into the room. You would know if somebody was touching you.
absolutely.
So that's something that you can just alleviate that fear. Because right away, you know what's happening during a hypnosis session. So that was good that you brought that up.
Yeah, and something else that I wanted to bring up was that I know that you talked about this before, and that is, does hypnosis open a doorway to negative energy or bad spirits? Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to hear your thoughts on that. I mean, I have my own experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, you know, that's a good question, because a lot of clients have come back and said, oh, my mother said it was evil, and, you know, whatever you did, it was bad, and, you know, and it's not, if they, you know, knew, it's kind of weird. Let me stop for a second, because during the session, those people are like getting so much information, and they're crying. You know, and you talked about the emotion.
yeah.
And afterwards, they were like, oh my God, I never realized this and this and this. It was nothing that was scary, or, you know, what we do always comes from God, you know, and that's something in our pre-talk. It's not anything that would be, you know, voodoo or...
You know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like one of those types of things where it's a person's experience versus the preconceived notion and ideas of either themselves that they've been taught their whole life or by others.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, I know that the countless sessions that we've done, that, you know, with you or for myself, or, you know, my loved ones' experiences with hypnosis, we have never interacted with or been approached by any negative or evil or bad spirits or energy.
And that's because we're protected by the soul mind,
right.
the guardianship of the mind. You know, and that's where that was another question I was going to bring up, but I'll let you finish first.
No, I'm finished.
Okay.
I want to hear about that.
Well, no, it's just like sometimes people are afraid of, like you were saying, or actually your mom was bringing up a session that we had together, and she had gone into something that was very, very emotional for her. There was a lot of grief, you know, and sometimes people will go into something that's a little difficult or challenging, but your soul mind will never allow that to happen if it's too much for you at the time. You know, that's your protection from Mother and Father God.
Yeah, and you know, that really brings up something that
Let me say first,
Oh,
your mom
yeah.
got really amazing information about it later, and it was healing.
Right.
You know, so it might have been challenging at first, but then she got great information about it.
You know, and that's something that I wanted to talk about, was that you know, one of the things that people might construe as negative, but it's not negative, is the emotions.
Yeah.
Like they might think, well, it's a negative emotion because I'm going back to a past life and I'm remembering this thing. But even that is a positive, because we're going back to understand it and release it and heal from it and that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know. And then the other thing I wanted to say too is that sometimes a concern might be, well, what if I buried something for a reason and I don't want to remember?
You're not going to.
And the thing of it is, too, is that usually if we're doing a hypnosis session, we want answers. And we want, we wouldn't be doing a hypnosis session if we didn't want to know,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that in my experience, I've remembered things that were difficult and, very difficult, but at the same time, it was like me not remembering them was like a Band-Aid that I had covered up, like a wound.
Mm-hmm.
And so remembering that was like taking off the Band-Aid so I could finally heal that old wound.
Right.
And it was amazing because Angus, who again, he's a master teacher on the other side, and he's been communicating with us through hypnosis and through trances with Vera because she's a full trance medium. And he has communicated that this wound that I was finally able to heal from was an old, like a soul's wound that I had several lifetimes back. And I've been working on it ever since to finally get it. And I truly believe that if it wasn't for hypnosis, I don't think that I would have gotten it in this life either.
Yeah.
So,
but you know a lot about the philosophy.
That
some people don't.
Right.
And I've had clients that got great information, but they didn't get what they wanted to get in the beginning, what they came to me for. And that's because their soul mind, you weren't ready for it. And they had amazing information that they had received from other things, but they were going, well, I didn't get that one.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's a process.
That's true.
So you're able to take that bandage off whenever you're ready.
Yeah, hypnosis really has been it's such an empowering, healing tool.
Well, some people are afraid of not coming back.
You mean during a hypnosis session,
Yeah.
not being able to come back to themselves?
Yeah.
Sitting there in life.
Yeah.
And how can that happen?
It can't.
So it cannot happen. It's not.
There's some people that just don't want to come back at that time because it's so wonderful, or they're having a great time, or they're talking to loved ones and stuff like that. But guess what?
It's not
You
possible.
have a chart in this life, you're coming back.
Yeah, that would be like beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Exactly. You may say, oh, I don't think I was going to come back, and if it weren't for the hypnotist,
Yeah.
no, you'd come back. And there's some people that fall asleep, and this is during the post-talk, while you're still in the chair, and it's after you've had the information, and you just like you're gone. And that's cool too, as long as it's your last client.
Yeah.
You can let them lay there for a few minutes, but yeah, you will definitely come back. Better, more enlightened, but you're coming back. Another one is that once they're in the session, and this is usually what we're talking about is past life, because with behavioral modification hypnosis, there's really not that much using the powers of visualization, seeing where you're going or what you're experiencing, that kind of thing. And a lot of people think they're going to see everything, and that most of my clients don't. They don't see anything. They just know what's happening. And it's almost like you feel like you're making something up. I've even done it as much as I know about hypnosis, and you know that because I go, I don't know. It's just
something that you just know.
Exactly.
Exactly. You just feel it and know it. And you feel those emotions sometimes. You just feel it inside.
And then some people say, well, I just read a book. And then it's like, well, why did you resonate to that book?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, that's the most difficult part because our analytical mind wants to take over and go, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? And that's when you start second guessing and then you lose it. So it's just, I tell people, just keep thinking you're making things up, keep going, keep telling me everything, and then afterwards we'll talk about it. And then whenever they go through the emotion of it, and then eventually they might start seeing a glimpse of something.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting more and more and more. Stuff like that. Because some people right off the bat can say, oh, I was wearing brown shoes, and I had a belt buckle that was huge.
Wow.
Really detailed. And some people it's more vague, but they're getting the information that they need, the emotion of it.
Right.
The talent or whatever it is that you're bringing back.
What they most
or
need.
Letting go. Yeah.
Whatever is the most important thing for them to remember.
Yeah. There's so much that we could go into in this, but we're giving you little tidbits.
This is only the beginning of sharing some of Vera's vast experience and
Yeah.
knowledge.
Well, I had it's Indianapolis. I don't know why Indianapolis always had these great hypnosis sessions, but there was a couple that came, and I got the husband, and we were having the pre-talk, and he had his arm like around the chair, like he just looking at me. He had his legs crossed.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
He had his legs crossed, and he's just looking at me because I was giving
This
this
body language
the
for sure.
pre-talk, And then he goes, I really don't want to be here. And I go, oh, really? And he goes, nah. He goes, my wife made me come. I go, oh. I go, well, you don't really have to. We can sit and talk if you like. I go, but you're not going to get your money back. Because I knew that was going to be the next thing. He goes, really? And I go, no. This is a travel. Travel expense.
You have to cover.
Yeah.
It's all set
So
up.
if it was not on the road, it'd be different. But I said, no. We could just sit and talk if you like. Because he started talking about his wife, and she's all into this witchy stuff. And, he just agreed because she kept bugging him.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, so I really still have to pay for this, huh? I go, yeah. And I go, why don't you just try and see what... I go, the worst that could happen is you got relaxation out of it. You got to relax for 30 minutes. And he goes, okay. So we started doing the session, and, he was saying, yeah, I'm okay, I'm relaxed, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then he started getting really... You could see the deep breathing. He started getting less talkative, And so I had him step out of the light into something, that... I forgot the exact words I used for him, but step out of the light and into another time. And he went to the other side, and he saw his dog. It was his dog from when he was a little boy, and he was bawling. I mean, he was just like, he was playing with the dog, he was petting the dog, and he's like, saying, oh, I missed you, and he goes, but I know, I know he's waiting for me. So that was awesome. Afterwards he was like going, oh my God, he goes, I almost didn't want to do this. And I go, I know, aren't you smart? Because he was also saying, I'm too smart for this stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I'm too strong-willed. You're never going to be able to do it.
Oh, wow.
And I go, wow, that's interesting because, you really have to have a strong mind to do this. And he goes, oh really? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's true. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
anything. It's true. You have to have, a strong mind to be able to visualize and do all that,
Open up that channel.
Open up that channel and just go right in.
Wow,
So
that's-
he was happy with it afterwards.
That's-
And it was no past life. It was nothing like that, but he got to see his dog.
That's neat. We connected
Yeah.
with his dog.
Yeah, and
And it meant so much to him.
Yeah, and you can actually see him, almost petting the dog yourself, as the hypnotist. So it was pretty cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, Buster. I never forget that dog's name.
Buster.
Buster.
How cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a neat story.
Yeah.
What a transformation within that time.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us today for this great information from Vera. I'm really excited for her to be able to share more about this. And stay tuned for our next video. We're going to be talking about wounds from other lives that we carry into this life.
All memory.
Yes, and marks that are reminders, marks on our body that we carry as reminders. And we'll also be discussing imperfections, our imperfections on the other side. So we want to thank you for joining us today, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you soon. And have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.